As long as the three wheels are narrating this dream, there's no limit to what we all can achieve. Welcome to the Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast. Willie Tiny without the thrill, and LA Willie recapping the aftermath to the mic, to the ropes, from the mat. No regrets from this shadow zone. There's no match for this podcast. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get it on. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get it on. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get it on. Let's get ready to fight. This is a war machine. Through sweat and tears we chase the unseen. Harness the rage in this gritty scene. Your fists are your words, your actions keen. Rips up from the hearts ablaze with fear. Breaking the chains that brought us here. Podcast warriors, so we're alive. Three wheels cutting through legends to ride. Stand tall as the world trembles. Unlock the dreams that no one can dissemble.
The Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast. Yes, another wrestling podcast. And this is our 49th episode. And we are doing the 2025 WWE releases. I am Willie Time. And co-hosts today are LA Willie and Will the Thrill.
Can't see that.
How's everyone doing today?
Good. How's everybody doing? Joe Hill say, hey guys.
Hey Joe, what's good? What's up, my brothers in arms?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. So we're talking about releases. Do you know all the names of the releases?
I know mostly of the recent ones. I know there were some a little
Take a stab
like
at
about
it?
yeah. Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Katana Chance and Carter. Who else? And then the most recent Carlito, R-Truth, Braun Strowman,
Good Brothers.
the Good Brothers, Valhalla.
Yep. Which was Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan, yes. I know I'm missing some more, but those are the one that comes to my mind.
Cora Jade.
There you go. Yeah.
Gigi Dolan.
Blair Davenport.
Blair Davenport.
Wow. There's been a lot of female releases, but there is a whole lot of females in WWE and NXT now. So
Yeah.
maybe in the next couple of years or so they'll bring somebody back or a couple.
Yeah. There's another release. Eddie Thorpe from NXT is another release.
Yeah, Eddie Thorpe was a surprise one on my behalf. Just
Mhm.
because he was being pushed in that main event status. I mean, he kept facing Trick Williams at the time, Obafemi. Oh God, I'm butchering this name. Jesus Christ, Lord help me.
Obafemi.
Yeah, Obafemi. Like he's been in like that main title picture. So I was surprised on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was also surprised by when they were pushing like Lash Legend and was her partner Parker, I think it was.
Jared Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, like they were like pushing, it seemed like they were going to get called up to the main roster, like be part of the tag team division or something. And that was a surprise. I didn't see that release coming.
Right. And they said a lot of the NXT type talent that they did release was they felt their plateau. They couldn't see them going anywhere else. So that was kind of hard for me to really believe that, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
The Meta Girls, as they were called, they were wrestling on the main roster. They were actually at a pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they were involved in the tag team, in the main.
Match. Yeah, it was like a triple threat or fatal four-way.
I think a fatal four-way, I think it was.
So it just throws me off that they did that.
I said with Eddie Thorpe, I'm like, I couldn't picture him like in the main roster. I
No,
mean,
but
I can see him like coming up, but like jobbing quickly.
agree. I fully agree with you on that one.
And I mean, I know there's the next one. A lot of fan reaction and impact of these releases is like if you read a lot of the comments or article, like people are like, we let go of these people, but we're keeping certain people that feel some people feel like they should be the ones let go because they're not contributing anything
Right.
for you know and I'm like, and if you watch like the show last night, I think so far the our truth impact has been the biggest and the loudest. A lot of people surprised about that one.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, every break they had,
A lot of times,
they were chanting them.
So I mean, besides the R Truth being the shocker one, I think the one that like that I'm a little disappointed is like the Carlito one because he took the PlayStation with him.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no wonder the screen was black. But if you notice, Dirty Dom had "That's Not Cool" shirt on, and on
Mhm.
their bandanas they still had Carlito's name on the top of it.
Right.
yeah. A lot of times, as fans, it's hard to let go and see one of your favorite wrestlers leaving or go elsewhere. But
Mm.
a lot of times, you leave WWE and you come back. Sometimes you have to leave to
Yeah.
find yourself. Look at
Right.
look at Cody Rhodes. Look at the prime example of Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm. I
He
mean,
left and came back and superstar.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there's
like main
several
eventer.
superstars that did that though too. Drew McIntyre
That's another one.
Yep.
and Ron the Truth Killing. I mean, our Truth did it one time too.
Yep, that's another one. And I mean, you see, Kairi Singh is another one. Like when she left, she was a pirate princess, but it's like she comes back and it's like a complete new look. And I mean, she started to string a couple of singles win matches the last 2 weeks, the last two matches that she's had. So sometimes it is good for some people to go elsewhere and try to make a name for themselves and then come back. Some I mean, some people find their groove outside of WWE.
Yeah, because I mean, no offense to WWE, because I mean, I take WWE as like the major leagues, like,
Mm.
and that's like your goal to always hit that plateau. But they have such a certain style that when you're finally free, it's almost like a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm saying that is because if you notice that a lot of the superstars, that even the ones under the umbrella, like Natalia's there, but yet when she went on, was it GCW not that long ago? She was like a whole nother character,
Yes.
but
Correct. Yes.
you were able to really see
Mm-hmm.
that she still has it. She still got it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
correct.
And it's funny because can I quote something from Mark Henry?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was saying, I really hate to say this, but he said if Vince McMahon was still in charge, R-Truth would not even be thought of as a release character.
Interesting.
Mark Henry said that.
Yeah, interesting. It come from the world's strongest man.
And he's on a legend contract. So that's one thing I'm trying to keep positive about. Because me, for one, R-Truth released the fact that he mentioned it on his Instagram, on his Twitter. He spread it throughout all his social media that his contract is not being renewed, and just to see the outpour worldwide, not
Mm-hmm.
just in the States, worldwide, it just shows like the type of character he is. I mean, a locker room leader was mentioned several times. Anytime you're feeling down and everything, R-Truth was the main one. And I do try to keep in mind here, and Jonathan Coachman talking about it. He is 50. I mean, he's in his 50s, but yet he still looks good.
Good. He was still going. Yeah.
He's still going. In fact, not 2 Saturdays ago, I might as well say, Saturday night main event,
Yep.
after wearing that one shirt, it was the top seller one time. And it's just insane to show that he still can get the crowd up
Yeah.
regardless of what he does.
Yep. And that's why you
Who
have
knew
all
it was
that
going to be his
world.
last?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Who knew it was going to be his last time?
Yeah. And and
No,
like you said,
no. His
like
last match was a squash match
yeah.
against
But
JC
like you
Mateo.
say, the world reaction, and then you got locker room reaction from his release. From current peers, former peers, like from the Miz. I'm following WWE on social. Like to Gunther, to like having Rhea Ripley like wearing like his shirt before the show. And other superstars like wearing merch before they go on like TV, but it's like the outpouring support for him.
Is that why she wore red?
Yes.
I was wondering that because okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, that's why you saw her with the gear that she had on, but like prior to the show she did have like a R Truth shirt on. I think a lot of the superstars had something on for him and Carlito before the show.
Yeah.
And a reaction like that leave you speculating, like analyzing, like why some of these releases, but especially ones you didn't see coming. Like you say, you understand our truth is in his 50s, but the man still looks in great shape. The man can still move. Like he's still got plenty of step.
Right. And the crazy thing too about that too is like he's he could like I mean I thought it was all about making money.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's the business is all about making money and as much money as you can. But you
Yeah.
would think you would release a guy that actually still has great revenue. Even the small segments he gets, you know what I mean? Like the small segments
Mhm.
he still gets a good reaction,
Right.
you know? So,
Hmm. Yeah, and one of the things like people are like asking why so some is like you got all these NXT call ups that are coming up now, and more they're talking about down the road as a reason on why they're doing some of these moves,
hmm
you know just like um trying to come up with a reason like why TKO would be doing this, and one person said it best in one of the articles I read was like, they're treating this as a business,
but
and
then,
and in every business, it's like when it comes to cost cutting, they'll comb through everything to try to, save on costs. And what's the one reason why Braun Strowman was let go? They were saying he was making too much money.
Right.
right.
You know,
But
and,
but it's funny that you said that about the money thing because then they just signed an agreement with Slim Jim.
hmm
So now they're going to put all the logos on these tables and everything that you're going to break through.
right. Just like when they signed, the partnership with Prime, like had their logo on the mat. With Saudi, have their logo on the mat. It's like money's coming in, but when you go out there saying like, here's the reason why this person will let go, and it comes to like financials, and I mean I understand from a business side, but sometimes it don't make sense. And I think I read earlier today they were saying that I think our truth turned down a contract that they offer him. I think it was like less than what he was previously making.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that
That's
too.
something in regards like within like negotiations and stuff.
Hmm.
Two
You
Hell
know,
says
It's shocked they didn't release Oscar. Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked too because that's like then we let go of who was the other member from PFC? Uh, remember, like she was hurt and then she came back. I used to just call her Cruella Deville.
Carmella. Carmella?
No, Sonia Deville.
Sonya
Sonya
Deville.
Deville.
Sonia, I say she, like her, like being hurt, then coming back, and then it's like poof, you're gone. And I was trying to remember who was another one that was like got released while they were hurt.
Carmella was out because she had like some setback.
Hmm.
She was released this year too.
Yeah,
Yep.
and now she's pregnant again. Like
Yep.
the Sarah Logan one, I get because like she hasn't been on. She was out when she was pregnant.
Hmm.
So Eric was, of course, and the War Raiders are like raving. They're one of the top tag teams on Raw right now, which I'm glad they are trying to work with the tag team division because for a minute, for a while, it was kind of like, okay, like that's like they're there. And I mean, because I really like Ivar. Ivar is really athletic, and having Eric back in
Hmm.
the history with that tag team, they're great. I love their new motorcycle style gimmick, still the Vikings gimmick, but more like updated. But with Sarah Logan as Valhalla, like she was just there. Like she
Right.
really didn't do many singles matches. She was
Mm-mm.
out again with pregnancy. I don't really
Yeah.
want to say it was an
I
injury, but I think
mean,
it was more that she was pregnant. So, and
I
then
just figure when they re gimmick, the Viking Raider back to the War Raider, like she didn't serve a purpose anymore.
right,
I
right,
agree.
because they abandoned the Viking gimmick.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. So that was the end of her. You
Yeah,
figure she would have came back and probably like get rebranded, but
or even come back and be like a partner with Liv Morgan, especially since they're teasing that with um Roxanne
hmm
joining. I would have like at least that was somebody that Liv would have fully trusted too in our group. Her and
yeah.
Raquel, that could have been a good trio.
Hmm.
But don't get it wrong, Sarah Logan definitely is very talented, and she definitely has the skills. It's just a shame, like you said, they didn't do anything with her.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about these two particular women I'm about to say, like Shayna Baszler and Shotzi.
Yes,
I think there's so much they could have done with both of them, especially like Shayna because she was a two-time NXT Women Champ.
But
Came into the main roster like I had like so much hope for her, to be dominant, but like pairing her up with Ronda at the time and then putting her with PFC, I kept saying like, when are they're gonna try to push her like singles again?
she is one of the oldest women they had on the roster.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I just feel like she never really got like a fair shot. Like,
yeah.
I mean, she got a couple title matches, got involved, but I don't think they really like pushed her like that.
But we
You
also
know.
got to keep in mind too, the women's division, it's exceeding. It's
Hmm.
like
oh yeah,
really developing. It shows like all the hard work that the women put through and finally getting their flowers. As
Hmm.
I mean, as it shows, because I mean, even before like some guys would just do it because of the TNA part of the girls and everything. But
Right.
no, now these girls really got talent and skill and really showing it off. And it's happening worldwide. So all the schools, credit to you, kudos to the schools who do
Hmm.
work well with these women. And women, thank you for showing your athletic abilities for what you put yourself through day in and day out.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
but I
they
do
they
want to
have
say
they have
like
been signing like a lot of top women from around the world. As you can see, for example, like Stephanie Verker, like finally making it. like to Raw, and it's because the NXT roster in the women division is like growing.
Yep, yep.
Absolutely.
And if
Uh,
you think, go ahead, Willie Tiny.
I just want to say, L.A. Willie brought up Shotzi. You see, she's going to be touring with GCW in Japan.
Really?
Yes.
Nice. I say I did like her gimmick with her tank. That's why I was like
That was
when she,
awesome.
when she was like, I was like, why? I said, why?
I don't. I think she's good. She'll do very well in the Indies.
Hmm.
Like maybe she got pushed a little too fast. Maybe
Maybe
that
she,
was her problem.
yeah, maybe she'll be like a Cody Rhodes and come back. Like maybe back in a couple years or something. Or
It's possible.
Possible. And the funny thing too with me too is like back. I'm gonna hit the NXT part because like I think Gigi Dolan shouldn't have been released,
I agree.
especially with with um with her in the tag team division. I thought they put up a good match against and with her partner Tatum Paxley and taking on Liv and Raquel before Liv left to do her film.
Hmm.
They had a very good match on NXT, and to see the following week, that's when they did the release, and they even incorporated in her storyline um, that about the release is saying that she has no friends. She's now very depressed. She's taking
Hmm.
her anger out on everybody, and she's still walking around with the two dolls that represent Shotzi and Gigi, and it's leading to a feud with Jada Parker.
Yeah, because I was gonna say because I thought Gigi Dolan was gonna be the one that was gonna take off after they let Mandy Rose go and the toxic attraction kind of like broke off. I didn't expect JC Jane to win the NXT Women's title. I thought it would be Gigi Dolan, like from that trio taking over.
Right.
So like when she was like, I was like, it's like nobody saw this coming.
And I don't know if that's true. I mean, I know we're not supposed to mention like who they're dating and stuff, but since now like her guy that she's with, um Zachary Wentz, hopefully I'm saying his name right,
Yeah.
from the Rascals
From the
TNA.
Rascal. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that now he's able to come back to WWE, he's been in NXT, that they would have still like kept that. I mean, they kept them separated, of course, because you never see them together, but like you wouldn't have released her because of that. And then, like you said, I was with you on that, LA, thinking that she would have been the one rocketed it to that. And you know, I guess even someone as talented as Blair Davenport, um,
Hmm.
to get released. It's just there's so many storylines, and they focus on certain superstars that you get left in the dust, and then they say they don't have anything for you. That's where you're in trouble, and where there's a chance you'll be released.
Yeah,
But
because that's.
unlike some of the people we were naming, there was stuff for them to do. So
Hmm.
it's mind boggling, especially, and I'm glad that with Braun Strowman, the big sob,
Hmm.
he, I mean, I'm glad the door's still open by WWE, still saying that they left on good terms. So he definitely might be back sooner than later, whenever they
Right.
need a big character. But I mean, is the contract negotiations like saying, "Hey, we're going to let you go, but if you take this amount, we could still hold you on." Like R-Truth is someone I would have just as soon as I mentioned we're going to release him, I would have said something about the Legend deal.
Right.
For real. Straight up.
Yeah, for
Straight up,
appearance.
and
Yeah.
therefore none of this exposure would happen. Maybe just be like, okay, he's Legend. And then you can have him promote WWE wherever he goes, and yet he's still under the umbrella.
Hmm.
God,
Yeah.
what was it, 25 years? I mean, not 25 years, 22 years he's been with WWE.
A long time.
A
That's a
long
One of
time.
the
long
longest
time.
active. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you said, how like sometimes they bring like people and they got nothing from 'em. It's like that's how we felt here in the household, like with Davenport and what's the other one, JC Jane or whatever. She would walk around with a little pocketbook, like what they had 2 3 matches and then that was it.
Yeah,
Not to
but
be
see how
not to
much
be
sense
seen.
that really makes.
Yeah, it's like we're like, why are you gonna bring someone if you don't really have something solid storyline wise for them? Because I felt like Davenport was starting to have a little storyline, but then it was like that was it. Couple matches and then she was gone. It's like they were never here.
Pretty much, and that's how they keep it going.
hmm That's how they keep it going. Yeah. So for a lot of these releases, it's like where you think like some of these people might would be a good landing spot. I mean, we already heard, like Willie Tiny say, Shotzi is going to be touring.
Game Changer Wrestling in Japan.
hmm
Yeah.
There might be more opportunities for her in Game Changer.
hmm
A lot of them will go to the Indies. They're going to have to. It'll be interesting. Maybe Braun will go to Game Changer. Maybe he'll do some death match. Look what happened to Matt Cardona. He blew up in the Indies.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
The death match king. You just never
You know,
know.
Matt Cardona, he was smart with it. He was smart with it because he bounced everywhere. Like you
Mhm.
said, GCW, NWA, TNA, AEW.
Mhm.
And yet when WWE came back, he said, I want to continue as Matt Cardona. And when they said no, he just kept going and went right back to the
Nah,
indie because
or
he wanted
H.
to be Matt Cardona. He doesn't want to be Zack Ryder no more. In
Mm-hmm.
fact,
Right.
even with his wife was trying to open the door for him too, even that didn't work because his wife is blowing up. Chelsea
Oh yeah.
Green is huge.
Yes,
Love
she
her or
is.
hate her, her gimmick is great.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Look, she was there and she left and she came back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look how
I
that
mean,
worked out.
and she made her name in Lucha Underground.
But
Yes, she did.
the one I worried about the most about the releases is Braun
hmm
Strowman, because last time he got released, he fell into a Great Depression. He was ready to take his life and everything else.
Well, Joe Hill
That's
says he said he has a new show coming out on USA Network.
cool.
Wow.
He
I would like
does
to check
seem
that out.
happy. If you follow him on social medias, he seems happy. So
Yeah,
that's what I worry about.
I think it was like the same day or the next day he was released. He released a video. He looked like he
On
was
the boat,
happy.
He
Yeah,
was on a boat.
yes,
He was fishing.
yes, hmm yes.
yeah, man. But I'm sure like with the Carlito and all that, everybody and the R-Truth, everybody probably was thinking like, oh, they'll go into AEW. But I can see Carlito,
Yeah,
him
but
winning the world title in Puerto Rico. I can see him,
well,
going
his
back there.
his dad owns a promotion. Is his dad still alive?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
they own a promotion in Puerto Rico, the biggest company in Puerto Rico. So
Yeah, the World Wrestling
yeah, WWC or whatever it's called.
WWC. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. The World Wrestling
I can
Council, I
see
think that's what it's
Carlito
called.
coming back at some
Yes,
point, though.
yes, yeah. It was very nice to see Carlito come back.
Mm-hmm.
They they put him in Judgment Day, and they just really didn't do nothing with him.
Yeah,
Uh,
he had what, like 2 matches, maybe 3 matches when he first came up with LWO and all that.
Right.
yep, betrayed
Yeah.
them. I
Carly,
honestly thought they were going to push him again,
me too.
Yeah.
especially since he came out with that new shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yes,
cool.
yes.
So you don't just get a shirt and then not do nothing with
Well, they did it to R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah, and that shirt sold too. That's the crazy
Yep.
thing.
Yes, it
Like
did.
I said, I thought it was all about making money. So why would you release the guy that's actually
And I,
bringing money in?
I think that was like one of his best moments is just coming out replicating John Cena.
I mean, if you had an idea like you were going to release him, that should have been his last match.
I agree.
To up the ante, yes, he was trying to save wrestling and bring the hero back, saying, "You know what? I am so confident I'm going to do this. Man, I put my career on the line." Imagine that as a part of the story, and John Cena squashing him and then still
What the,
insulting him and everything. That
what
would
the,
have been like
yeah, that's
a
what
good icing on
my
the
wife
cake to push
was
his heel turn even more. At least better.
right. Yeah, because my wife said she was like, why couldn't they make that his retirement match and let him leave his boots in the center of the ring and and call it a career if you're gonna
I agree.
if they had the discussion and they say, well, then we're gonna release you, he could have said like, all right, then make the Saturday Night Main Event as my last match.
Right. And
Let me
then
go
it
out on
wouldn't
top.
have like had this much of a big uproar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you have the whole world questioning everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like our truth is like your Cody Rhodes or your Seth Rollins. Our truth is just a like I don't want to say ordinary guy, but because the man's very talented but he's not like your A-lister.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like
He's our comic relief.
yes, the comic relief thing.
He's your entertainer.
Yes, yes. But he's also a good wrestler too.
Yeah.
He is. But they never let him fully develop that or show us that.
Right.
We have to go to footage of him in TNA to really see. And he's a former NWA champion, if I'm not mistaken, 2 times.
Yes. Yeah. He has time now to work on whatever he's got to work on. Write more music. Go do an indie show here. Do an indie show there. Like he could do everything on his own time now.
Right.
Speaking, that's funny you said that about his music. I'm surprised WWE never licensed him for that.
Well, it's a good thing they didn't, because they would own it. He wouldn't own his own music.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since we're still talking about our truth here, I have a theory.
Okay.
What if this is a work? Has there been official statement from WWE? I
No.
haven't seen one. No official statement. Now, you would think they would make official statement. The guy's been there 22 years.
Now, has he been moved to the alumni section?
No. Also,
he's technically not released. He's still under contract. They're just not renewing.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Well,
same with Carlito. Like if they really wanted to, they could put Carlito on the show if they wanted to.
That was R-Truth's words. That's what I read from his tweet X whatever.
Right.
Yeah, from his he actually because it ended up going everywhere.
Now here's the other side of the coin. John Cena said he was out to ruin wrestling. This is ruining it.
They're putting the pieces together.
Just a little theory. I could be wrong, but hey.
No, but that's an interesting
That's a good
theory,
one.
my brother Willie Tiny.
That's a good one.
That's a damn good one. Because you're right, WWE itself didn't say it. They're actually even saying as an insult that it was Triple H's decision.
Yeah. They did not mention it on Raw at all.
No, they did not.
Not at all.
But it is bringing a lot of heat. And it's getting people to talk about.
And a lot of the wrestlers unfollowed WWE.
Yep. The Miz for one too. It scared a lot of people thinking that the Miz was next being released.
Well, because they did say his contract is up at some point this year.
Correct.
Yeah, his contract, Karrion Kross, and Dragon Lee's.
Yeah. Already? Wow.
And I think Dragon Lee's one that you definitely don't want to lose.
Mm-mm. I
I
think
mean,
like
hoping that if he does, he goes to AAA
I
since
can
it's
see
under the
that because
WWE umbrella.
because when he
Or
first
he
came
can
up,
join his brother,
it's like he was
or he
going
can
this
join his
way.
brother in AEW.
True. Because when they first brought him up, I was like, man, I really like this guy. I hope he takes off. But it seems like he's, become still like they're not featuring him that much. I mean, he's going to get featured in the Worlds Collide. Like you said, that maybe that's something that he moves over to AAA.
Dragon Lee would have been somebody you see them let go, but now they have Penta, Phoenix, and now working with AAA.
Yeah.
You're going to want him there for that now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah, because
surprising if he got let go.
Yeah, because he got some good AAA wrestler. If anybody that's watched like Hijo de Vikingo matches and when he was in AW for a little bit, is like I saw him and I was like, wow, who's this guy? It's like been following his matches. So I can see, like Dragon Lee and all that. Like, even Ray Phoenix, like there. Because I feel, like he's popular, but I feel like between Penta and him, like Penta's the bigger one right now in WWE,
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
you know. So, another reason for all these releases, I say, do you guys think that the roster is overbooked?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There's so many talent wrestlers on the roster. They already have all these other programs, and
Speed.
well, not including that,
I mean,
but
like
they
you said,
overlap
Speed.
wrestlers. They use wrestlers for Raw and SmackDown. Keep them on one show.
Yeah, and I thought that
Like
was the whole deal.
showcase more wrestlers. Yeah, but
Mhm.
they're not. They just
And then you move to 3 hours on, SmackDown, and then 3 hours like a Raw, and I was like, oh, maybe we might get more matches and more people, but it seems like it's still the same
same
old,
ones,
same old
same
talking,
wrestlers.
same old 15, 20-minute talks in the beginning of the show, and promos taking longer, like you said, overlapping wrestler from both shows.
Mhm. Same wrestler on both shows.
hmm And then sometime at the
Like,
end, when you see the credit roll, you'll be like, "Oh, that's it. The show's over." You'll be like, sometimes they'll end it a little early, and it's like we could have gotten another match in there or two.
hmm Especially for
mm-hmm.
Raw. There's no time limit on Raw right now.
Right.
Nope.
They've
But
been
they
running
mostly
3
aim
hours
for
or
like
2.5.
2.5 hours. That's what pretty much what it seems like.
hmm
Huh.
And I
SmackDown's got
think
that
that
contract for 3 hours.
Right. Yeah, because I know they did talk about like cutting it back to 2, but then I think People USA is like, no, they want to keep it 3 hours right now
Oh, okay. For SmackDown?
for
yeah.
SmackDown. Yeah.
Uh,
Because they talked about like this month or next month, they were talking about like cutting it back to 2 hours on SmackDown, but I think the people in USA Network or something, they were like, we want to keep it 3 hours.
too much money. They'll
hmm
lose too much money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Advertisements.
and I mean, I mean, you got some people there that throw a couple more matches in there, for show like you said, so we don't get any more cuts.
But
Then
I mean, I wouldn't be so bothered if the cuts they made was more for like they're not using them. They're just sitting
hmm
there. You don't have nothing for them. That would make sense for a cut.
hmm
But like you were mentioning, because like you want talent, homegrown talent, because you got Evolve, you got the LFG. You just had the great turnaround on that show.
hmm
Speed you mentioned, and then they're also talking about doing a like you said, branching out across the world. Might be bringing WWE Europe instead of UK. It's Europe that
hmm
is a project they're starting to work on. So, and then not that long ago, didn't they have like WID? looking to
Mhm.
do the independent with the schools and stuff. So you got people in that.
Yeah, you got people in that as well. And now you got like NXT call ups, happening. You saw a couple like on Monday. You're gonna see more on Friday and the coming weeks. And like our buddy Joe Hill said, like Mariah May showed up on Evolve.
She did.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wait, who?
Mariah May from AEW.
She really did.
She really
Oh
did,
yeah,
but
because she's supposed to sign soon.
yeah, but I don't think I forgot what name she was going with. I don't think she was going with Mariah May. I think she was going with her actual name.
Oh wow,
Okay.
that's what I get for not watching at that time.
Interesting.
One time I miss it.
Hmm. So you got that. You got that as well. Like some of the women, from AEW coming over.
Yeah.
Who else do you want to see for an NXT call ups?
Mm.
Now, are you asking like they deserve to call up, or
Your opinion. Who do you want?
I'll go first. I said I want to see Oba Femi on the main roster. I want to see him get called up. For the women, who's this? Who's the chick? Like blonde hair, dresses in red. Is it Zarya?
Zarya?
Yeah, her. Like I would like to see her get called up.
Well, I think I like the fact that they pulled the gun with Stephanie, because when Stephanie got hired, all right, I
Mhm.
heard that she had the choice to go straight to the main roster because of her resume.
Mhm.
Okay, she said no because I want to better my English.
Yes.
She didn't want to embarrass herself on the promo. So therefore, she took the time in NXT and balanced herself there. And if you notice from her very first match, if you ever caught the first match, the crowd was, of course, ecstatic for those that heard of her.
Mhm.
So they were 100% behind her, even with Julia, because they traveled the world. And of course, Japan is 10 times faster than compared to WWE.
Mhm.
Julia's match, I'm using those two as an example because they're international, okay? Their timing was perfect, and I'm glad that Julia went ahead first before that, because her first match against Roxanne was off. The match was somewhat sloppy just because they took one of their best women's superstars in Roxanne to take on Julia for her match. Julia was way too fast that Roxanne couldn't even catch up on a lot of their moves. So there was a bunch of botches just because of the speed itself.
Mhm.
The next time they matched, it was a well fluid match, one of the best matches on the night. Same thing happened with Stephanie.
Mhm.
Until Stephanie faced Julia, you were able to see what both of these women were able to do because their speed was matched. So it was all about them learning the ropes with these superstars that are being bred, but
Mhm.
they traveled the world, and especially in Japan, to learn their speed. So seeing Julie and the way how well that match on Monday night went between Liv and Ivy, hats off to Steph, because she's definitely. I really want to see the Love Premiere taking on the Queen. That's my dream matchup right now,
Yes.
because Stephanie is the truth, and I know a lot of people will agree with me.
Did Stephanie wrestle Lyra yet?
Uh,
No,
no,
That'd be a good one.
that would be a good one
that
too.
would be a good one.
I want one NXT call up.
Who?
That's that's my girl,
Oh,
Jordan Grace.
Oh, that's good that you said that, because I think she'll be the next one coming up.
to
I hope
SmackDown.
so.
And I'm happy that Willie Tiny said his girl.
She's
Yeah.
awesome.
Tune
She
in to
is.
Tune into SmackDown. That's the rumor.
Cool.
I thought you were gonna say all ego.
Oh,
I started going.
Ego.
I say if I had to pick another person to call up, it would be like, was it Ricky Saints? I
yeah,
think he would be
yeah,
another one I would like to see.
definitely.
Now, is there
Him
any?
and I will agree with you because I think
Oh,
the whole Ethan Page bit would work up on the main roster. And plus, I think they need more heels like someone that can go that. Trick Williams, Joe Hale says Trick Williams and Ricky Saint. Trick to me, I it's something about him I don't think he's ready for yet.
I see him as Carmelo Hayes lackey. It's like, like I'm glad he's doing his thing right now in NXT, but I'm with you there. Like, as far as the main roster,
Well, let's talk about it.
I can't see it. You know.
It's just, I mean, he got the theme song, he got that, and it's just like you said, he's too much of a lag, and I'm glad that Joe Hendry actually used that
Right.
in his promo song against Trick. That he, and yeah, it's. I think if he does go up, he's not going to have. He's going to be lost in the shuffle
Hmm.
unless he kisses and makes up with Carmelo, and Carmelo's like, you know what, dog? I'm sorry. This is how we're going to do. We're going to run this joint back.
Right.
did I see Santana's with NXT now?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no. Remember, they're in the partnership with TNA. His daughter, his
Oh,
daughter
so
is pretty much the ambassador for NXT. So she's with her dad. So of course he's popping on and talking to
No,
Ava.
no. I think he's talking about was it Mike Santana,
Oh,
yeah,
Mike
not
Santana.
Santino,
My bad.
not
Wrong thing.
not Santino.
right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad. I got hype.
Well, no, but Will the Thrill is
The
right.
New
The
Yorker.
partnership with TNA. Since Trick William has the TNA title right now, because he defeated Joe Hendry.
Yeah,
So Mike Santana is stepping up to be the one
as the number one contender.
to try to
So
bring that title back to TNA.
so you're telling me Santana's with TNA?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I got you. I got you.
because when he left AEW, I think he took some time and then he showed up back in TNA.
Yeah.
Oh,
Even when we went to the show, Willie Tiny, the last TNA show that I went with you at the 2300,
Hmm.
he was there.
Because
I
ever since he been back in TNA, they've been
I never
pushing
been
him
to
as a top
TNA.
star.
I never been to a TNA show.
He doesn't remember.
MLW.
Willie Tiny, I got picture.
A TNA.
Yeah,
No, no.
at the
ML
2300 because we went.
MLW. Anyway, move on.
No, but yeah, it's like ever since he's been back in TNA, he's been pushed as like a top star now, like
Yeah,
running with the big boys. So that's why he's in line now to be the one to try to bring that TNA title back to TNA.
So Will, you got the next one? Number 11? You want to explain that one?
our true feelings about everything that we've been seeing and everything with all the releases and the direction of everything. Me, I calmed down, I guess you could say. I was one of the livid ones. You know, I was about to say get the f out. You remember the WWE? Yep. See, it was at TNA at the 2300 Arena. I'm telling you, Willie, and I'll show you the pictures when we see each other at work. Um, I was kind of pissed. I was pissed because of everything that you have a guy that's moving up the ladder who's, I guess, not really climbing up the ladder, but the fans love. The locker room loves him. So with that, and then Carlito winning the Puerto Rican title at the AAA last event. I thought that was poetic justice. I was happy, and then then that day you hear about Carlito's contract's also not getting renewed. So yeah, just work, guys. You could have really put in a story, especially if you're working on the whole division of Judgment Day. It would have been cool to see where Carlito would have aligned himself with if he would have just went with Dom, since Dom always had his back.
Right.
Or would he seen like maybe the grass is greener with Finn?
Yeah. True.
Because I see they're doing that with JD. You see JD's face on last night on Monday night
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on Roxanne out him and that big head.
So what's there? 6 members of Judgment Day now? 3 male, 3 female.
Yep.
Yeah.
JD, Finn, and Dominic,
Mhm.
and then you got Raquel, Liv,
Live.
and Roxanne.
Right.
Yeah,
But
temporary Roxanne.
Roxanne's trying to temporary. She got to prove herself because Liv don't trust her.
I think they're gonna work a relationship with Finn.
Yes.
Mhm. Yes.
That's what it looks
So
like.
with the releases, my thing is, if you're going to release somebody and you're all about making money, you'll do what you can to keep the talent that's bringing the bread in. That's how I feel about it. You don't just release the release and then you're paying this person more money coming in. Then what was the whole point of you releasing the talent that fans like?
There you
That's
go.
where I really get.
There you
frustrated.
go.
I say, I say my feeling on it is like I know it's a business. They're treating it as a business since TKO acquired WWE, and now
Mhm.
these releases are starting to become like kind of like a fiscal quarter thing where it's like, let's look at our numbers and who do we let go? What makes sense to keep? And the first round, like this year when they started like releasing, like I was a little disappointed. Like I said, with Shayna Baszler getting let go, and then like Strowman getting let go, but with the possibility of coming back, and then this latest round, I would say, just like the art troops, stuff is really like stinging because it's like yeah, he was the comedy act, but it's like he entertained every time he went out there. He had you laughing, and you look for every time you saw him on TV, you were looking forward to seeing like what he's gonna do next. And we're having some of his memorable moments, like bringing the ladder in a women's match, like treating it as a Money in the Bank, or like being in the wrong Rumble, like stuff like that. As you look forward every time you saw him like just show up on TV, it's like, what is this guy gonna get into next?
Come
Like
on, this dude took a belt and made it seem like it was worthwhile. And I'm talking about that 24/7 belt.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the king when it came to that 24/7. Him, what is it? Him and Tozawa when Tozawa was doing the whole ninja thing in the trash can. Like that was gold.
That was gold. It was great.
Now
It
there
was
goes a name.
entertaining.
Mhm.
There goes a name. Like, no offense to Zawa, but come on, our truth Zawa. Come on.
Right. No, but I just feel like these, like these releases now is starting to become kind of like a draft thing, like an annual thing or like a quarter thing. It's like like in a couple months, by the end of the summer, we're gonna see another round of like releases, and maybe by the fall, like another round releases by the end of the year, another round of releases. Like
Do you
that's what it's.
think Do you think they're doing it to make headlines?
They could
They could be.
also see like
Look, was a
our
couple years
uproar.
ago. Um, Bray Wyatt, and Strowman
Hmm.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a big one with Bray.
Oh yeah, like that made no sense. No sense.
And in these latest rounds of cut, just like Joe Hale said, I've seen a lot of comments like this in different, news outlets. And people was like, "Why are we still holding on to the Wyatt Six?" But you let go, our truth and some of these people that have been let go recently, but we still holding on to these guys. Yeah.
If you really want to cut money, do it for business wise, money
Hmm.
reasons wise. Cut Charlotte Fair. Cut Charlotte. We don't need her. We
Don't need her.
need her. She's
I, s-
boring. She's
I,
not
s-
that good.
I said, what was your reaction when she came back? And it was right into the title picture. Like
Exactly.
I was worried
That
that.
tells you right there about that situation. Like the
Mhm.
crowd, how upset they were, and how she was supposed to be a face, turned her right into a heel because
Mhm.
of that.
Because of that.
Same thing over and over again. So repetitive with her.
Yeah, come back. Title
Boring.
picture.
Boring.
Right. Oh,
Right.
no
It's like when
need
they
to
brought,
work. No need to climb the ladder. Like screw everyone that was here that worked their ass off to get right up there.
because it's like
That's how I felt about it.
we'll put you in the match with Tiffy for like Mania, and I'm thinking like, oh god, please don't let her take the title off of Tiffy. Like she works hard to get to where she's at, just to have Charlotte come off the street and be like, I'm the queen, give me the title back. Like,
And sure enough, that's exactly how it went.
hmm yeah, and I don't know. It's like so many cuts, and then and people getting bounced around. It's like when we had musical commentary chair there for a moment. Like this guy's in, this guy's out, this guy's back up, this guy's going back down to NXT. Like,
I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs. Like I really
right.
don't. But like if you could change one guy on commentary, who would you change?
Ooh,
Hmm.
I don't know because I really got accustomed to the group now. I love Pat McAfee
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and Michael Cole. He really came in his own.
Oh yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah.
On the other side, what's his name? Joe Terry or
Joe Tessitore.
Tessitore. At first, I
I
was
like
like, "Oh
him.
man, we got a guy talk about boxing doing this." No, I actually like his voice now for it.
Yeah, it
It's
took him a
like it's
minute.
different, it's mellow, but yet he gets to the point.
I
Hmm.
And
like
him and Wade Barrett to me is comical.
I liked Tessitore before he even came in. You ever watch that golf show, miniature golf show? Holy moly! Oh, he's
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. That's
Hilarious.
right. He did do that.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it did
But
take a minute to get used to Joe, but I think he's coming on his own too.
I would remove Wade Barrett.
Who would you
Really?
who would you replace
Yeah,
him with?
bring back Corey Graves. I like Corey.
He likes Corey.
You know what? I like Corey where he's at. I
Where's he
like
at?
it.
Where's he at?
NXT.
NXT.
Oh,
With
okay.
what is it with Tom
At
and
first,
Booker
at
T?
first, like the first time when you saw Corey Graves on NXT, you could tell he was kind of pissed about it
Hmm.
because he was on for one show and then for like 2 weeks he was gone. Like it was like what the hell?
Yeah.
And and then when he came back, like I don't know if he had a talk with like whoever's in charge and they mellowed him out and he's been great since because him,
His
Booker,
reaction.
and what's his name? Victor Joseph.
Yeah.
They're a great trio
Okay.
Hmm.
because it's like you got Booker who's like a heelish announcer in a way, and then of course Joseph's the one that's the positive thinker for the face, and then you got Corey putting his input and agreeing with Booker on most of the stuff. And I'm not gonna. I gotta say this too, since you're talking about the announcers.
Mm-hmm.
So when Stephanie Vakir made her appearance and she did the demon kiss, is what they're calling
What they
the
calling it?
famous thing. It's the yeah. I was hoping Pat was going to do a better job with the ah. If it wasn't for that Oklahoma City crowd, that would have just been bad. Because it doesn't got the soul that Booker T had with it.
Yeah, not once but twice in the same match.
In the same match. Who would have thought a move like that would end up so popular?
Mm-hmm.
We got plugs and upcoming bookings. We are working on one or two interviews, and with one of them interviews, we will be discussing the X Brand Wrestling Wicked 13 tournament.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
X Brand's first tournament. I'm excited.
Very excited. Oh.
So please stay tuned to Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast.
Are you ready to take it home?
Let's take it home.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
This is the Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast.
All right, everybody. This was the Three Wheels of Wrestling podcast, our 49th episode.
Yeah.
Good night.
Ah!